We are actually now in Romania, but for the past kind of a little bit over a month, we have been in Montenegro. And I've been so busy that we haven't even stopped for a moment, and I haven't even had a chance to come on here and make my little videos and tell you all about it. So today I'm going to tell you all about kind of the first half of our trip in Montenegro. So the trip started out about a week before we were set to fly into Montenegro. We got a message from our Airbnb host letting us know that they were doing some kind of maintenance work on the city water system and that there would be no water for the first week that we had booked there. We had originally booked 2 weeks in Kotor. So we quickly decided, well, we're not going to live with no water for the first week. So we canceled that first week and found a new little place. James found it, and it was called, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Zabljak. And it's this beautiful little mountain town. It was about a 2-hour drive from the airport. And we got in that evening into Montenegro later in the evening. So the first thing we did was we picked up our rental car, which was quite a funny story. So we had booked a regular rental car, as you do, and there were some guys in front of us also picking up a rental car. So they checked both of us in, and then they walked us kind of about a 5-minute walk from the airport to where they have all of the cars held. And they gave the guys in front of us their car and they drove off. It looked like a really nice, I don't know, a Ford something or other. And then the guy said to us, "I'm sorry, this is the only one that we have left." And we took one look at our car and one of the hubcaps was missing. That was the first thing that I noticed, and I thought that was a little strange. But it was getting late at night, so it was dark out. This is the only car they had left. And so we decided to take it, but it was kind of a dud. It was falling apart. It was extremely dirty. I went to turn the knob on the radio. There was no knob on the radio. It was missing tail lights. It had obviously been in an accident. There were literally footprints on the backs of the seats in the back of the car. So I'll let you know the name of the company. I wouldn't recommend renting a car from there, just in case you ever come across this car rental company, because when we did contact them and say, this is really not a great car. I mean, there was no tread left on the tires. It was kind of an unsafe car to be driving. The air conditioning didn't work. And they had let us know, when we let them know, you know, what should we do about this? This car is completely unacceptable. They actually emailed us back and said the car we were supposed to receive was in an accident earlier that day. So this was their Class D car. I don't even think it was meant to be rented out. I think it was a car that they kind of take around the lot and do odd jobs with. But anyway, don't rent from this car rental company. But the good thing is, you know, we were a little hot with no air conditioning. The tires were bald, but it got us around safely up into the mountains of Zabljak, where we were staying. And let me show you around there a little bit. Really, really cute little mountain town. The first night we were there, we went out for dinner to a restaurant, and again, I'll put the name of it up for you. And it was a beautiful dinner. The main highlight of it for me was I splurged because I saw that they had a gluten-free dessert on the menu, and it's not often that I get to have gluten-free desserts. So because it was kind of nearing the end of the evening, the waiter came up with 2 plates of the desserts, and when we tried to tell him no, we only ordered 1, he said it's on the home. So we quickly realized he meant it's on the house. So they treated us to a dessert so that James wasn't left out with me eating mine. And I had also seen in the reviews that they make their own tea, and it was the most delicious tea. It was like a homemade ginger, lemon, cinnamon. It was so good. It was really nice to be out of the heat that we've been in for the past few months in the other countries. It was kind of like a nice crisp evening, and to have this homemade tea and this beautiful dinner and dessert, it was a really great start to our stay in Montenegro. Our Airbnb in Zabljak was a really nice location because we were kind of off the main drag, but not too far away. It was only about a 5-minute walk down to where all kind of the activities and things are. But behind our building was the most beautiful little church. It was perched up on this hill, and I walked up there one day, and it was just spectacular to see. You're surrounded by all of these mountains, the wildflowers were still blooming, and just to think of all the history and people that have gone to this little church. There was also a graveyard there, so it was a really nice, peaceful place. And also what I loved was that in the mornings, the church would ring the church bells. So James would laugh at me because every morning I'd be running and opening all the windows to hear all the church bells going. But there's just something special about that here in Europe, waking up, hearing the church bells. It'll never get old. One of the standout moments of our trip into Zabljak was that we went to a place called Black Lake, and it was absolutely stunningly beautiful. I can't even describe the color of the water and the mountains in the background. I'll show you a whole bunch of clips from there because it was just one of those experiences that I will never forget. It was a pretty easy drive in to get there. We had to pay a parking fee, which we're not sure if it really went to the park, the national park that we were going into, because it was kind of a man standing there collecting money, and then on the way back out he was gone again. So we're not sure. If you do visit, just know you might have to pay a parking fee and then plus a park entry fee. It's not much, but so we parked the car, and then you kind of walk along this beautiful trail, and along the trail are all of these kind of craftspeople selling their wares, which of course I loved to see. There was all sorts of crocheted and knitted pieces and honeys that they had made. There's this black honey that's from the region around there that a lot of people were selling. We didn't try it, but looked really good. And then you kind of come to the end of this trail and you come onto this huge lake. And as I said, the color of the water was just unbelievable. The kind of blues and greens and as the sun hit it, it was something very memorable. So we spent a little bit of time there and enjoyed the day, enjoyed the warm sunshine, and highly recommend it. If you're ever in Montenegro, in the mountains of Montenegro, definitely go to the Black Lake. One thing you do have to be careful about if you're visiting Montenegro are kind of the scams that do exist here. I mentioned our car. I'm pretty sure we should not have been given that car. That was a bit of a scam in that way. We also had read, be careful in the grocery stores, because a lot of times they'll double charge you for things. The prices that you see on the shelf are not what they ring up as. And even as we were standing in line at one of the grocery stores, we saw 2 people that came back and two tourists that came back and said, you know, hey, you didn't give me the right change, here's my receipt, and they gave them change out at the register. And we experienced, we're not quite sure what was going on, but when we checked out, they were telling us our credit card didn't work, and we're asking for money, and we knew our credit cards were working. We've used them the whole time. We've used them since. There was something strange going on there. And then at a couple of other shops, what they'll do is if you buy, you know, like a little 4-pack of pudding or things like that, some places, you know, it'll be €2 for the entire pack, and then other places tell you it's €2 per container, even though they're attached. So just little things to look out for. Make sure you're always watching what's ringing up. So we've learned now, James will pack or I will pack, and then the other one of us will stand and watch the cashier and watch what she's ringing up, and that the prices are coming up as they should be. So just a little something to be cautious of if you are traveling around Montenegro. After our time in Zabljak, we drove through the mountains and came to a little town called Cetinja. And again, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. But we decided to spend a couple of nights here checking out this small town, which was the former royal capital of Montenegro. So a lot of the buildings there were really majestic and really grand, and it was a beautiful place to spend a couple of days and just rest and relax and have some good food. After these little fun side adventures, it was time to head to Herceg Novi, which was our original place we were supposed to be staying in Montenegro before the water situation happened. So we drove to the airport, we dropped off our rental car. Thank God it had held together all this time. Not quite sure how we managed to lose another hubcap on the way because they were tied together with zip ties, but we were happy to say goodbye to that car. And we caught a taxi that was to take us to our Airbnb in Herceg Novi. So our taxi ride to Herceg Novi was kind of a little adventure because it involved taking a ferry across part of the water to get to the other side. And that to pay for it was part of our fare. But we soon realized that our taxi driver didn't have the money to take us over there. So it was kind of funny because halfway getting to the ferry, he pulled over on the side of the road, got out of the car, was talking to people. We were wondering what the heck is going on. And he had been on the phone before that. So we soon realized he was on the phone calling another taxi driver to come and bring him money, because I guess he realized he had no cash to take us over. So after that little pit stop, we got on the ferry, no problem. It was kind of a neat little ride to go over, and then we continued our journey to Herceg Novi. When we got there, our Airbnb was situated up on top of this really kind of like windy road. You had to get up on top of this hill, and we were trying to show him on Google Maps, like, look, you have to turn right here and you have to go this way, but he wanted no part of that. He definitely was old school and did not want to see directions on a phone, so he just kept pulling over and asking locals where the roads were that he was trying to find. And at this point, it was absolutely pouring rain as well. So it was quite the ride. We finally got there in the end. Our Airbnb host was waiting for us to help us with our luggage. In the pouring rain, we all got soaking wet, but we arrived safe and sound, which is all that matters. We had a really nice Airbnb in Herceg Novi. It, like I said, it was up on top of one of the hills, so we had the most beautiful view that we woke up to every morning. We could even see some of the cruise ships passing by in the evening, all lit up, and it was a great place. The only thing was that although it was nice to be up on the top of that hill, every day when we had gone down into the town, you have to come back up. So you either have to walk up really, really steep streets, or we found a staircase, and that was actually even worse. It was definitely leg day for us. Every single day that we were there gave us a good workout, but it really tested our knees, that's for sure. If you've been watching my videos, you know how much I hate the elevators. Actually, I hate elevators anyway, but especially in Eastern Europe, I have hated the elevators, and in this condo was another really scary one. This one was actually missing the inside door. So when you got into the elevator, you had to be careful, because once it started going up, it was just the wall passing you by. So if you touched it, you know, probably lose a limb. I don't know. It was definitely scary. So part of our traveling, we don't do a lot of like the real touristy stuff, because this is really a trip for us to work and live and see how the locals live and go to the local grocery stores and cook our food. So we're not really doing all the true traditional, you know, sightseeing and going to see every single landmark there is. So on my videos, I try to kind of show what we do every day. We go to coffee shops, we do our work, but then we also do stroll around and see a lot of the things that, you know, are around our Airbnbs and around our places. So let me show you a little bit about Herceg Novi and what it looks like. things we've been wanting to try is the black risotto. So when we were in Montenegro in Herceg Novi, we thought no better time than the present. So everyone we've seen on YouTube says it's really good, and so we were excited to try it. It's a strange meal, I definitely have to say that. James took the first bite of it, and as soon as he did, I looked at his mouth and his lips, his teeth, everything turned completely black. So I was a little hesitant to try it, but I did. It definitely turns everything black pretty much until, you know, it goes away once you've finished your meal, but if you're on like a first date or something, I definitely would not recommend getting this dish because everything is black. But the taste wasn't for me. I don't know, it didn't really have a strong flavor of anything. I believe it's like a cuttlefish that they use, and the ink and the dye out of it makes everything black, but it doesn't really have a strong flavor. But the flavor just wasn't for me. It wasn't really fishy or anything. But like I said, we've seen so many other people say that they really enjoy it, so maybe we just didn't get the best one. Maybe the restaurant that we got it at wasn't quite the best. Maybe we'll try it again sometime. We'll see. I don't think it's for me though. I'll stick with my mole frites that we also got that evening. So this was the first part of our 4 weeks that we spent in Montenegro. I'm going to make a part 2 that tells you about the other portion of our stay, and hope you've enjoyed following along on our travels so far. If you have, don't forget to give the video a like or a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss when I come out with new episodes, please subscribe. It really does help.